Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Shahin Ghadir with the Fertile Life podcast. I am very excited to have Kelly Gores here with me today. She is a dear friend and also someone that I admire because she came at an angle with her podcast called the Heal Podcast and a documentary that is unbelievable. And I think it's really important that we have a lot to talk about today. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me. Like I do with every one of my guests, I love to give them the opportunity to welcome themselves and also introduce themselves and bring up anything that they find the most important in their life.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's so good to hang out with you. It's been too long.
Thank you.
And who am I? Hi, Kelly. Welcome. Thank you. I am just a girl from Southern California. I grew up in LA and, I wrote, directed, and produced this documentary called Heal that came out in 2017. And then it became a book, and now it's a podcast. And the intention behind it is just to empower and inspire people to kind of take control of their health back. We so often give our power away when we're in a healing crisis. So I want to inspire people that there's so much more is possible with the human body. We're intelligent, amazing, organic machines, and so much more is possible. So that's what I'm passionate about. And the most important thing in my life right now is my 2.5-year-old daughter, Riley.
We are definitely going to be talking about her.
Yeah.
Okay, she's going to be a part of this, a big part of this. I'm just very curious though. Were you just like laying in bed one night? You're like, I just have to do a documentary right now on healing. Was there a moment that something happened? Did something come to you that like you wanted to do that documentary? I have some friends that do documentaries, and it's like something that is really passionate to them or that they had a calling to in order to do it. What was your moment that brought you to that?
Oh my gosh, I wish there was one moment and it was an easy answer because I'm asked this in many podcasts and I don't know where to go because I feel like there's so many little events in my life that led me to do it. But it definitely was a calling. It was one of those times in your life where you're just like, I have to do this. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it other than the fact that I can't stop thinking about anything else. And it was like the clearest calling I've had besides having a child. So, and I won't do another documentary until I have that strong of a calling again, because that's what it takes. Because there's, so much that goes in. It has to be magical chemistry behind a successful film because there's so many moving parts. I mean, with anything, sports team, anything, there's so much that goes into it. So yeah, ultimately, I was so empowered by all the teachers that I put in the film, the experts, and even though I've never been on a thank God, never had a healing crisis. I've actually never lost anybody that's in my immediate circle to something like a devastating diagnosis or terminal illness. So it is a little bit strange that I had this calling to do a documentary about healing. But mostly it's just I'm in awe of the human body and what's possible and the intelligence of nature. And we represent nature as well. And so it's a little bit of science, a little bit of spirituality, and it's a lot of empowering.
So, something I take away from the idea behind what you're doing is that you don't have to be in a dire moment of like some loved one dying and going into an idea of how to heal, but just bringing ideas and aspects of this to your daily life and how to make yourself a better and a stronger human being.
Yes. People would come, I've been an athlete my whole life. But I had the worst diet growing up. I mean, I'm shocked that I'm this healthy today because I grew up on Kraft macaroni and cheese, McDonald's, Domino's pizza. Like I was a picky eater. I was always on the road, either playing sports or going on auditions or whatever. And I didn't eat anything green. This is no joke. I did not let a vegetable pass my lips until I was about 19 years old and wanting to lose weight after gaining 15 pounds in college. So
this is for me incredibly hard to believe. Okay,
swear.
Knowing you in the health nut and everything. Oh wow, that is very interesting.
Yeah. So.
But that's bad to announce because, like, look, America, you can eat whatever you want for 19 years, and you turn out like Kelly.
I mean, look, I was very active, so I think I maintained some sort of, I got out all the toxins, but eventually caught up to me. And as things, even with an illness, like eventually you're going to have to pay the bill. So a lot of people say, I can't afford organic food or I can't afford yoga class or whatever it is. It's like, you either pay now or you pay later. And there's so many tools that we can teach ourselves that, just using our own instrument of our body, whether it's breath work, meditation, earthing, exercise, movement, anything, like all these things that we could do for relatively no cost that can transform our lives and health. So,
But you know what? I have to thank you for bringing that up, because I have people that I know in my life that use the excuse of, eating healthy is really expensive, or I don't have the time or the money to do so. And I had taken my kids to the 99-cent store to get Halloween decorations that usually go right underneath our car as we drive over them. And I saw that they had an entire produce department that had really nice vegetables, like shockingly nice, that I went home and I told my wife, maybe you should consider going to the 99-cent store. Now, it wasn't the number one thing on her list to do, but I was really shocked. And I think that it's an excuse when people say that they can't cook healthy or eat healthy. And I have patients of mine that don't even understand sometimes the concept of eating healthy, and it's so important for having a healthy fertility life and a healthy life in general. So I definitely want to touch base on that, but that's important that you brought that up, so thank you so much. But that's incredible that you made that transition and that you kind of took on and then once at 19, it just kind of became a part of your life, just being healthy?
Yeah, my motivating factor at that point was I looked at a photo of myself, and I was studying abroad in Spain, and, I drank in high school, I drank in college, and it catches up to you. You're eating pizza at 3 a.m. Eventually, you're going to get a little puffy. So I looked at myself and I was like, I need to get in shape. This is crazy. And I don't look healthy and I don't feel healthy. So I started walking 45 minutes to school in Spain every day, 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. And I started adopting the Mediterranean diet, which included making salads at home for dinner and having a little fish and, not that many carbs. If they were carbs, there was like fresh baked. So your body like really assimilated it. There was no preservatives or processed foods involved. And so that was my motivating factor. But then once you start feeling good, then you keep it going, Right. But so much to be learned. I mean, luckily I didn't have any motivating. A lot of people, it takes them to get sick to wake up and change their lifestyle, and I posted a meme the other day on my Instagram that a lot of people have commented on. It's just in stories. It was like a repost, and it said, if you don't make time for your wellness, you're going to be forced to make time for your illness or something.
Oh my
like
God.
that.
Wow. That's a powerful one.
So,
That's really powerful.
It's all about prevention at this point.
Yeah, of course. I love the Mediterranean diet. When patients of mine ask me what is the best thing to do for me to lose weight, and I love to say that I think the Mediterranean diet or lifestyle, not even necessarily if you're trying to lose weight, but if you're trying to lose weight, then you have to do that in the low caloric manner. But if you're trying to just be healthy, I can't think of a diet that is healthier.
I agree.
Any of those trips to Italy and eating pasta and doing everything you ever wanted to, and you come back and you lost weight, walking, being active, all these healthy things that you can do. And for those people who listen and don't really know exactly what the Mediterranean diet is, you can look it up so easily, and it's so simple and clean. And it's the kind of foods you need to get into your body that are not with boxes and expiration dates.
Correct. Yeah, they're buying their food that they go to the store in the morning to buy the produce and the bread that was just freshly baked that morning from not GMO, wheat. And it's local, it's organic, and it's fresh. It's of the day in the present. We're not going to Costco and buying stuff for 6 months and filling our pantries.
But Costco does have a lot of organic vegetables and fruits, by the way. I just want to let you know I'm not seeing you in the aisles of Costco a lot these days, Kelly, but I want to let you know that.
Okay, good. As long as they're not the jumbo boxes.
Actually, every single time I go to Costco, and for my kids, it's like a amusement park to go there. They have these green labels for the prices of anything that's organic. And in the fruits and vegetables section, there's more and more green labels every single time you go, and probably half of their entire produce department is now organic.
That's amazing.
Which is great to know, including eggs and milk and everything else too. So it's actually really good, and I think that that if Costco is going there, then America's probably on the right track.
Right.
We're getting there. I'd love to know who's been your most memorable guest on your podcast.
Oh my gosh. I just love all my guests. It's so hard to find a.
Was there anyone that was really powerful that brought like a clear memory right now when I asked?
I mean, I had Anita Moorjani yesterday. Her story is fascinating. Anybody who's dealing with cancer, I always say, for the most inspiration and for a lot of hope, read her book, Dying to Be Me. So she's amazing. A couple weeks before that, I interviewed a Navy SEAL who, of course, we dropped the episode yesterday on Veterans Day. And I guess I shouldn't say when we're recording this. Is that bad? Okay. And so we dropped the episode on Veterans Day, and he just has a fascinating story. I mean, so many of these veterans come home and they do a 1 month evaluation, psych evaluation, and our only solution at this point is to give them some medicine. And a lot of them are dealing with, it's hard to integrate back into regular civilian life after you've been in combat, and the things you've seen, and the mild traumatic brain injury from blast and whatever, it all adds up. And so they're given a lot of pills, and it's kind of a dark road for a lot of veterans because they're not curative. They're just kind of managing symptoms. And so this Navy SEAL has this brilliant story of this beautiful story where he found his healing on a psychedelic journey, but it was in a scientific, like a clinical setting.
Wow.
So and he had the right preparation, and he had the right integration after. But these types of things aren't really supported in this country yet. So he had to go outside of the country to do it. In one session with Ibogaine, which is from the Iboga plant, he completely healed and came back to himself. And he said it was like his brain, all the files were everywhere, and it was just like organizing the files in his brain. And it's crazy. This is from a plant. This is from nature. Nature designs these amazing, beautiful things that are actually curative. And it's a shame we don't endorse them, or support them in our country yet. But we just give antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications instead and get you addicted. And then it leads to all sorts of other dark side effects. So it's incredibly hopeful, and now they're supporting other vets to go seek out those therapies. So that was cool.
That's amazing. I have a friend recently who just went on a 1 month retreat. It was just her at the place that she went.
Oh, wow.
And she came back a new person and did similar things. And I think there's a lot to learn from these things. What about how much of Heal and now your podcast and stuff actually is talking about mental health?
I think all is at this point. Yeah, I mean, even anything they talk about nutrition, it's we don't talk about weight at all anymore. It's all focused on mental health because there's this gut brain connection. So it's and so many environmental toxins and just the stress of this global crisis we're all in right now. Mental health is at top of mind, no matter what your background is. So I think it's woven into every conversation that I have.
And I love that because I'm going to transition into this, that it's become a huge part of my practice as well. 18 years of doing this, and I've kind of realized why was I not addressing people's mental health? Just because their body, it's just not a body in a machine. And it has become such a big part of making sure that my patients are healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally. We have now a full-time acupuncturist in-house.
Yes.
And she's unbelievable because she's more than that. She is almost a full-time therapist to some of my patients who adore her, and I adore her, and I think she's amazing. And that just reminds me, I need to bring her on the show. But with that being said, it's just such a big part of everything we do, the mental health. And we've had guests on the Fertile Life that had to do with mental health and mental well-being who were not even psychiatrists or therapists, who were just people that addressed it. And I think it's just so important. So I love the fact that it's just not about healing. And of course, healing has to do a lot with your entire body. And that's such a huge part of it.
The mind is everything. I mean, the mind is so powerful, and our subconscious beliefs and programmings are subconscious. We're not even aware of the subconscious programming that is literally running our lives and attracting relationships and circumstances so that we can wake up to these negative and disempowering programs that we adopted as a child. And whether it's you're talking about fertility or a fertile life, mindset is everything. And so even getting pregnant, there's so much conditioning and pressure. It's like, I got pregnant at 39 years old, and that's like a geriatric pregnancy or whatever. And so had I not known about my body and how I'm biologically younger than my age, or whatever it is, had I not had all these tools and awareness, it would be stressful. I would be like, oh my gosh, I'd be looking up statistics, and it would add to stress. And obviously stress releases hormones and chemistry into your body that's not conducive for a fertile uterus, So mind is so intertwined in everything we do. And so to have tools to navigate life in these high pressure circumstances that we're all facing right now, and the inundation of technology and information, I mean, we just simply have not evolved fast enough to be able to process all the negativity that's coming at us every second of the day.
Yeah, I think that it is so ignored in this country. The idea, when we used to have a lot of patients coming from China, and I used to go to China. I went 12 times in 3 years, and I used to see early in the morning, because jet lag kills you. When I would be like walking somewhere, and I'd see like in a park there were like 100 people doing exercises that were just being done quietly, and it's like a meditation. And the fact that elderly people were there and doing it, and we don't have those things. Like, there's very few of that. There's very few people in the United States that even understand that they have to do some kind of therapy for their mind, and clearing their mind, and relaxing their mind, and opening their mind. So I think that's a huge part of where fertility has gone in my practice. I'm really happy that it's a major part of Healing and Heal and your podcast and how you address things in your documentary. I do really want to talk a little bit about your beautiful little Riley Grace. I have a Sophia Grace, who's my middle daughter, and love that name, by the way, Riley and Grace. How is she?
She's amazing. I mean, I'm just like in awe. She's just a little chatty Cathy, and just so. I mean, even today she's 2.5, so she's like right in the figuring out those big emotions. And she had this great nap, and she's surrounded by amazing people, and I hear her like screaming as I'm getting ready for this podcast. She's like screaming at the top of her lungs, and that's so rare for her to do. But obviously she's having some sort of meltdown, and she just couldn't. Like, someone had opened a door that she didn't want them to open. And it was so uncharacteristic of her. So I took her outside. I said, we just need a little reset. And I said, you're just having big emotions and you don't know what to do with them. But, I don't want you to like hurt yourself, and screaming scares us. And I understand, but let's just go get a reset, let's put your feet in the ground and see the earth. I was like just teaching her how to, ground and earth. And she was like totally engaged. She totally reset. I teach her how to breathe. And look, she stuck her feet into the grass for maybe 30 seconds. And she's like, okay, let's go show Daphne how to ground. She wanted to go teach someone. But it's like just those little things and those little practices you can teach them so they can learn to self-regulate. I mean, we were never taught these things as a kid. And I really see it working. She's really, besides those moments where she's screaming bloody murder over nothing, she really can turn it around and be like, within 3 minutes, just like self-regulate. So it's just so cool to watch.
Well, first of all, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Amazing mom and dad is going to have an amazing child. The second I brought up her name, I looked up, and we've been smiling and talking here nicely. You're suddenly glowing, okay? I see it. I swear to God, the color of your eyes changed, and the smile completely changed. So that makes me beyond happy. When I hear people that just appreciate being a parent, and the thankfulness for being able to have a beautiful, healthy pregnancy. So that makes me beyond happy. And we are going to talk. We're going to see, like, what are the future plans of fertility? Are we going to take advantage of some science here? Are we going to?
Well, I am getting, if I was geriatric 2.5 years ago, I'm getting right.
I didn't do any math there. I'm not doing any math in my head quickly.
Yeah. I mean, look, I would definitely, I always have known that I wanted to be a mother. And I'm one of two. I have a brother, and I think that sibling dynamic is so great. I definitely would love one more child. I don't think I just feel, and I had to have one. So if it's not in the stars for me to have another, then so I'm very complete. But I'm not complete. Like, I feel there's one more that's coming through, and it's such a magical experience. And I tried to do it so organically and naturally, and I had a natural birth with no medication, and that was intense. And at the end, I was like, I would not recommend that to anybody. Like, get the epidural. But now that you go through it once, I mean, you're holding on for dear life the first time you do it. I would love to go through the whole process again, conscious, more relaxed. And
it takes pressure off when you've been successful once and you have a kid at home.
Yeah, and then you can like be present to different things because everything is a first. You just but now that it's not novel, you're like, okay, so you're a little bit more at ease,
I have a patient. Actually, today I told her she's pregnant. It was her third. She only wanted 2. When she came to see me, she said that she wants 2 kids. Got pregnant, and she was the most stressed person ever when she walked into my office. And then for baby 2, she came back as a new person. Today, when I told her she was pregnant for number 3, she started to laugh. And we both started to laugh. And I'm like, remember when you said you just wanted 2 kids? And it really does complete people. I only have one sister as well, and one day she called me because she had 3 kids and I had not had a kid yet, and she said, promise me you're going to have more than just 1 kid. And I said, I will do my best. So I kept my promise. I'm 4, she's 3. We have 7 kids in the family for my parents. But
I don't know how people
blessing.
do 4 or more. That's like, I'm stressed with 1, you know, like
it's a lot. It's a lot of work, and I have
a
unbelievable wife that manages and does the best she can.
Yeah.
And she's also easygoing. So in some ways she's easygoing, and I think that allows her. Or else you'd be, if you're just one of those hovering moms or helicopter control freaks, then I'm just letting you know right now, do not go for 4, okay?
Yeah. My friend has 6 kids,
6.
She's been pregnant for however many long years that is, like 10 years straight or 12 years straight.
And lives here in LA?
And they live in Tennessee now,
okay.
but they were living in LA, and they were just like, it's way too expensive here. But it's like 6 kids. I'm like in awe how I would definitely lose one, hurt one. Like, it's like, I admire mothers of, any number of kids, even 1, but 4, 5, 6 is insane.
Well, we will address what to do next and try to figure out if we can give you a little help there. Not that you need help in anything. You are so in shape and look so amazing. When we met years ago, you were like, I was in awe. And then you sent me this video, and you were on the back of a speedboat with a champagne bottle in your hand. By the way, I tried doing wakeboarding, okay, and then I thought of you, okay? Getting up and being able to hold the bottle of champagne and never dropping it, yet alone I had a hard time even getting up. What are you doing these days to stay fit and healthy and looking amazing like you are?
Well, drinking champagne while wakeboarding.
That's right.
Wake surfing. It was actually wake surfing. No, it's strange. Like, once you get to, it's so funny because you know how women and every woman out there listening, and men too, some men too, it's like we hold on to that last 5 to 8 pounds depending on how tall you are. And for my 20s, I was an actress, and I was always like 5 pounds heavier than I wanted to be because the camera throws on another 10. And it's, once I learned so much about like accepting yourself and energy and mindset and meditation and manifestation. Like, once I got to a place in my life where I just was truly happy within myself, like all that just melted away. And it even people are looking at me now, they're like, Jesus, you had a kid? Like, you look even better now than you did before. And truly it's because I had been, that tension of going after, like, again, I was 39. Am I going to have kids? Am I not going to have kids? I knew in my heart, the only thing I've ever been sure of is that I'm supposed to be a mom. And once I had the child, all that tension, anything that I was holding, like, I'm like, so it's like, I just feel like holding on to weight and stuff is energy. And I honestly am just so happy in my life right now. And yeah, I have stressful days. Yeah, I've been burnt out all year from like just taking on too much and not saying no, and the stress of the world and being an empath. But just at my core, I'm so happy and content.
That's beautiful.
That I feel like I look better because of it, even though maybe my body hasn't changed more than a millimeter or 2.
Well, I can guarantee you don't need to lose 5 pounds. I'm going to tell everyone that right now, okay? I guarantee you.
Yeah.
But that is beautiful. I mean, that's like to feel like that and to be in a great place like that is absolutely a wonderful, wonderful place to be. If you were to think about next things for you, I know that family is very high up there, and I promise we're going to talk about it. Maybe not here, but we're going to talk about it. What, if you had to make another documentary right now, what would it be on?
Okay, definitely on the environment. I think that's my next passion, calling. I just interviewed Mark Hyman on my podcast, and a
brilliant person.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Can you get him on my podcast, please?
I can try for sure. He's like the busiest guy. I literally he was like, okay, gotta go, bye. But he, we really need to end factory farming, not only from a health perspective, but it's one of the things that's killing the earth more than anything, and wiping out rainforests and methane from the animals and the inhumane way we're raising these animals and slaughtering them, and just like that, it's just, we're also feeding the world sick meat. If you raise a cow or a chicken or a pig or whatever people are eating, in an inhumane way on a diet that's not natural for them to get them fat, well, then they become diabetic cows that they pump with antibiotics and hormones to make more milk and everything else, and to beef up the beef. And so you're feeding them corn. Well, their natural diet is grass. So you feed them corn, they become diabetic cows. They have these open sores on their body. They're sick cows that then get put on the supermarket shelves as prime beef or whatever. And people are consuming that meat and that energy. And it's like, no wonder we're all sick and toxic, you know? So again, I still eat meat, but I eat grass-fed, humanely raised, organic,
What do you do when you go to a restaurant?
Well, I don't order meat if it's not grass-fed organic.
Because I'm assuming
I eat a lot of
99%
pasta.
of the restaurants that we go to don't really have that.
I mean, I go to the same. We're like creatures of habit. My husband, he doesn't.
Wait, what are your favorite restaurants?
It-
I've never asked someone that on the podcast,
Oh my God, this
but
is
right now I
funny.
really need to know.
Yeah. I mean, look, we love Nobu Malibu because we live there in the summer. And
Oh my God,
it's the
guys! I
best.
just want to let you know I've had the best burger ever in my life at Kelly's Beach House. I mean, that was I don't know if it was the one named after you or the one named after your husband,
Yeah.
But that was number one.
The AG burger, probably.
yes.
I made the KG, which is more like with avocado and no man. But of course, grass-fed beef, lean grass-fed beef. So we like Nobu. We like,
Have you been to Lucky's?
I have been to Lucky's in Montecito. I
Yeah.
have not been to the one in Malibu
So
yet.
I've been to the one in Montecito because we have an office in Santa Barbara as well.
Oh, cool.
But we went recently 2 times to the one in Malibu, and I really, really liked it.
Okay,
Like
cool.
they've gotten everything going just right.
Amazing. Well, they
Yeah.
better have a grass-fed steak
That,
on the menu.
you know what?
I think they do because I remember having one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's really smart. I think that eating healthy when you have control over it is really important. I don't know if I could do it every single time I went to a restaurant and eat pasta every time.
No, I mean,
I can't get myself over the salmon though. There is something about the wild salmon that I just have gotten used to eating farm raised salmon that's so bad for you.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference there, like a
Yes.
major difference.
Yeah, we want to, we want to eat animals raised in their natural habitats with their, natural swimming pattern. We want to eat happy, it's food chain. It's whatever your beliefs are. I'm sure there's a lot of plant-based, people out there that are like, you need to stop eating meat. And I get it. I totally get it. I'm not there yet, but I'm aware. But so you want to eat. You are what you eats.
Absolutely.
So if you are, eating salmon that are raised in these nets in these stagnant waters that are eating their poop and eating, it's really gross what's going down there.
Yeah.
So you don't want to eat cows or pigs or chickens or fish that are.
Yeah, no, I think that
not
there
raised
needs to
naturally.
be more regulation on it, and I think we've gone down a really horrible path in this country with just being able to do almost anything, just to sell anything, and the profitability of these farms is the most important thing for the public and for the owners, and I think that we need to make some changes, and I love the fact that may be your next little
Yeah.
passionate documentary, because I have a feeling no matter what, it's going to be unbelievable and amazing and perfect.
Thank you.
So that's very, very, very good to hear, and I look forward to it.
Just to end that thing, we are an amazing organism, and so much more is possible with regeneration in our bodies. Like, for instance, back to Anita Moorjani's story, her body was so far gone, she was in a coma, organs shut down, her body wasn't absorbing nutrition. Doctors were like, lemon-sized tumors coming out of her neck and all the way down to her abdomen. There's no way someone could look at that. Any doctor would say that this body recovers. And she had a near-death experience, and with that shift in consciousness came back, and she was healed in 3 weeks. And she has all the medical records to prove it, and it's just like this mind-blowing story. But it shows, regardless of how you translate, if that was a near-death experience or hallucination or whatever, her body recovered from the farthest away that it could ever, she was dead. And so just like we are these amazing, intelligent, self-healing organisms, so is planet Earth. And we've done a doozy to it. We have destructed and destroyed and, all of this. But if we can stop the destruction now and we do things that allow it to flourish and regenerate, it will heal and it will come back and thrive. But we got to stop what we're doing now, like yesterday.
Yeah, like yesterday. Are you still out in the nature and on the lake and doing that often?
Yeah, I just went to Michigan for
How
a few
beautiful
days.
is it there?
It's so beautiful. And I'm a beach girl. I grew up in Southern California. We have a house on the beach in Malibu. I get in the ocean every day. But we have this lake house in Michigan, and Lake Michigan looks like the ocean, but it's fresh water. And it's just a different energy. Like LA, even if you're in Malibu and it's a little quieter than where we are in West Hollywood right now, there's still the tension, and like there's just a lot of people and a lot of energy and a lot of tension. You go to the Midwest and you're on this massive body of water, and it's just like you decompress in 30 minutes. And so I need to go out there for my mental health every couple months.
Good for you. This summer, for the first time, I've been going to Lake Tahoe my whole life in the winter, growing up to ski, and we decided to go a family trip to Lake Tahoe in the summer. Wow, the lake. I just realized like what I've been missing out on all these years from gorgeous lakes around the country. I loved it. It was a perfect mix of like nature walks in the morning, the whole family together. I was pushing my nephew who was visiting us from New York. He's 8 months old in the stroller, and that was my job. And it was just, everyone in the family got on the boat, and we were just jumping into the freezing water, even though it was like 100 degrees. And it felt so good. And gosh, so much natural beauty there. So and I know that Lake Michigan and where you are and what I've seen in your videos is just unbelievably beautiful as well.
I would say Lake Tahoe is one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Oh, gorgeous.
And it is so healing. Just that there's literally an ionic charge that comes from being in nature and near water and in the forest and in the mountains. So it's like it's so good for the soul, but it's actually like subtly really good for the body.
We were there for 5 days, and I felt that walk in the morning, the fresh air, the trees, and then the hot weather, the burning sand, and then the cold, freezing lake. The combination of every single stimuli that gets your body going was happening during the day. So I think I've become more appreciative of those kind of vacations, and I can't wait this year to do it, especially with the family.
Yeah, that's one of the key elements of healing is reconnecting with nature.
Absolutely. Well, I am so happy to have you here today. And you are truly glowing, and it's whatever it is. I know it has to do a lot with beautiful Riley and everything else that is going on well for you. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy to see you. I love the work that you do. I love what you bring to planet Earth and to us as human beings, because we need a lot more of it. So thank you so much for being here with me today.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Ghadir. It's so great hanging out with you. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Thank you again, and thank you everybody for listening.